This episode is sponsored by Tomboy X. If you've been watching the show for a while, then you know that Tomboy X was the very first sponsor of X's and O's, and I am a huge, huge fan of them. I think at this point, I pretty much exclusively wear their boy shorts all the time, both for the look and the feel. I think they're so cute, they're so cool. And also, Tomboy X is queer founded and queer run, which we love to see. Go to tomboyx.com and use code Shannon so they know I sent you and get 20% off your first order. I love you, Tomboy X. Thank you for sponsoring X's and O's and being here from the start. This episode is sponsored by Curé. If I'm going to put my things in my girlfriend's purse, I'm going to make sure it stays pristine. That's why I'm excited about Curé, the ultimate solution for protecting and preserving your handbags. We maintain our shoes and our cars and even our bodies, so why not our purse collections? Some of those bags are investments, and Curé makes them last a lifetime. Plus, if you ever want to resell, Curé ensures that you will get top dollar for your bag. There's a limited supply available, so go to mycuré.com to get your leather care kit today. That's mycuré.com. The best way to make your handbag last forever. This episode is sponsored by Chime. I didn't realize until my 20s how important it is to have a credit score. I didn't even know what a credit score was, but you can start building yours today with Chime. Make your fall finances a little greener by working towards your financial goals with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes when you go to chime.com/Shannon. That's chime.com/Shannon. Chime. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Members FDIC. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in SpotMe and are subject to monthly limits. Terms and conditions apply. Go to chime.com/disclosures for details. Hi guys, my name's Shannon Beveridge. I'm the host of X's and O's. Welcome back. It is currently Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th. It's early in the day, so I do not know the results of the election yet, so I don't know what kind of demeanor to be having right now. And also, this episode was pre-recorded with Rebecca Black last week, so we also didn't know what was going to be happening. It's crazy that this will come out, and you will know what's happening more than I know right now, which is scary, and I'm very stressed out. It's been a stressful week. It's been a stressful 24 hours. I think it's possible it could be stressful all the way up until Saturday. I don't really know. I'm trying to prepare myself for anything and mitigate feelings. I'm trying to finish this episode as soon as possible because I really want to go be around friends and people that I love while they're announcing the election results. And it could, I don't know what to think or feel other than stress. I feel stressed. But as you can see, I'm back in my house. I'm recording in my house. This is the first episode that will be back in the bed. And I'm so stoked. But I will say, and I just want to give you a heads up, that the bed and the set is not finalized. I just didn't want to be in the studio anymore. I wanted to make sure I was back filming at home, and that meant sacrificing the set here being fully done. It's not 100% done, and you will notice that things are changing even between this intro to the episode and between the next 3 episodes that I've already filmed. There will be differences in what's happening behind me, like there is no art yet, and also like these are light holders that I had to take down because I need to get light dimmers for the lights. So things will be changing and nothing is 100% final. So bear with me while I change those things. But I hope that you're excited that I'm back in the room, back in the bed. I don't know if you can tell based off of the angles that we shot for this week's episode or the next 2 either. But the bed itself is a circle. It is kind of like a hexagon? What is it? It's the same as a stop sign. So that's what took so long, was getting the circle mattress basically. And also just like everything else, things take longer than you think they're going to, especially with interior design. I didn't know things took so long, but they do. I hope you guys will give me your feedback on what you do like, what you don't like from this week's episode, what you like about the angles, camera angles. And because we'll be looking and reading and making changes along the way. The room was designed by Sarah Weichel. She is an amazing designer. She also was my old manager, randomly enough. And I will have all of her links below in the description. I also hired a DP to help me light it and get the cameras right so that it is going to look good. Hopefully, I want it to feel really like elevated and nice. So shout out to Savannah Block for helping me with that. And her description, she'll be in the description below as well if you want to check out her stuff. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys right now. I really want to leave my house because I don't want to be here by myself doing this. I want to be around other people because I'm anxious, and I'm giving you guys a hug through the screen if you're anxious too, and I'm curious what's going on while this is being posted because it will be up tomorrow, and who knows. But I do know I love you, and I hope that you're okay wherever you are. Everything will be okay. I love you so much. Enjoy this week's episode. Okay, hi guys. Welcome back to X's and O's, a podcast where we talk about queer relationships and sex. I'm your host, Shannon Beveridge, and this week I have the one, the only, Rebecca Black as my guest. She is a longtime friend of mine for 7 years and also an internet sensation. She is an amazing pop artist and now DJ. You may have seen recently she went viral for her Boiler Room set, which if you haven't listened to it, you should definitely check it out and or watch it. It's on YouTube too. But I'm so glad to have Rebecca back in my studio. She was my first guest ever in my first studio, and she is my first guest in my new studio, which, by the way, is a work in progress. We're working on it still, so things may change, and I hope you will pay attention and see what that is. But so happy that Rebecca came today. She is so iconic and amazing, and I'm so proud of her, and we talked all things relationships, sex, music, figuring out who you are, and yeah, I love her dearly. Enjoy this episode. Bye. Hey, Rebecca Black.
Hi.
I cannot believe we're back.
I know.
And it's so different.
And it's been no time.
It's been 10 months.
It's really scary.
So much has changed. This is our second episode together. Rebecca was my very first guest ever in my first set. This is my very first guest in my new set.
It's cute. It's a different vibe.
It's a whole different vibe. I know. I'm like, I'll have to include what we see here.
Yeah.
For like the video so they just can see how different it used to be. It was very DIY.
But that was also the charm.
Yeah.
That was the essence. This is like, it's really fun to see how you've grown. Also, like, I feel like I've like gotten to see, like, even through just your Patreon journey and being a part of that, like, I've gotten to see you grow so much this year.
You too.
And I've gotten to see more of you. I feel like me coming on this podcast was like a moment where Shannon and I like reconnected.
It's like, thank God you're back in my life.
Yeah.
We needed that.
It was big. It was big.
Thank you, Chris Clemens, for turning 30. Because that was like the first thing. And then
we're probably at exactly a year because it's about to be his birthday.
You're so right.
That's so crazy.
That is so crazy. That was really like a great trip for me. Yeah. That was a crazy trip.
Yes. Chris Clemens had a big 30th birthday trip.
A bash, if you will.
Yeah.
And then
connected a lot of people.
Yeah. We've been friends, as we talked about in the last episode, but we've been friends for like, what, 6 years? Are you 26 right now or 27?
I'm 27.
7 years.
7 years. Yeah.
That's really crazy.
And we would have met like around this time. We would have been on tour like 7 years ago because that was October.
That's so
Remember
weird.
we spent Halloween together.
We did. Wait, what were you dressed up as?
A dog.
Obviously.
We were in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. We saw Kesha.
And I was dressed as one of Beyonce's babies.
Yes.
Good costume.
Oh my God. Really crazy.
So much has happened. And also, so much happened so fast, I feel like, especially, let's not go right to that. I was going to say.
Especially you got broken up with, or you broke up with someone. Whatever it was. I don't know. Everything happened.
When you go through a breakup, which I was going through a breakup when you were on the podcast last. I mean, not going through. I was in the beginning stages of being single. Mm-hmm. And now I have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
You are single.
Yeah. I should have prepared questions for you.
Yeah. I mean, you can ask me anything you want. But I will say, obviously, I'm stoked that this has grown so much. It's changed so much. But also, you've had like a revolution. You're like having the comeback of a century. In my mind, you've had a comeback. Because I'm so familiar with you and your music, your stardom, everything you've done in the last 7 years. Like, you've done so much in 7 years. But I do feel you've recently gone kind of mainstream. Super mainstream, don't you feel, in the last month?
I never know how to feel. I don't know if you've experienced this at all. Like, the internet always feels like a bubble to me. Like, ever since the beginning of my career when I was a kid, like, I never know if it's so easy to feel like everyone's talking about this and everything is because you're looking for it. Like, it's catered to you. So I never know if people are
seeing it as much as you are.
Yeah, and like I definitely have noticed, just it's been really nice as like the new music has come out and I've been just doing my thing. Like, it's nice to hear people be like, I've been seeing a lot of you recently.
You're everywhere. Every time I open up my phone, I'm like, hey, Twitter loves you. Twitter loves you.
That's really nice. But then again, like, you also just never know.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I have nothing to compare it to because I've not gone as viral as you've ever gone. I've gone semi-viral, but this is like, you're going viral again. And also now for all the right reasons. Like, everything I think you ever wanted is like happening and people are recognizing.
That's really nice. It's definitely been a long journey and I have a long way to go, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. I was reading the comments on your Boiler Room set. If you guys don't know, Rebecca DJ'd at the Boiler Room. It went viral, and then clips from it have gone viral and viral and viral, and among other things. But I was reading the comments on the Boiler Room thing, and it goes back to what I was saying before, where I've been so in tune with your career. Like, I know all the changes you've made in the last 7 years. It's so interesting to see the people who still think of you as Rebecca Black from Friday, seeing like, holy shit, this girl. To them, it's like something happened overnight. Yeah. To the people around you and your fans, it's like, no, this girl's been working at this.
That's what's really, I mean, I feel lucky in a way that like I started so young because I really feel so detached from the internet in a lot of ways. Like, I don't, if I see people make like an assumption about me that I know isn't true. So for example, with like the DJing thing, everyone's like, oh, she's a DJ now? When like I learned to DJ at your house 7 years ago.
Crazy as well.
By like one of our friends who I just wanted to learn because it looked fun. And I've been like kind of working on that as a career path steadily for the last 7 years. But it doesn't, like, of course, like, people are not constantly attuned to you or whatever in that world. So it's always interesting to see. I just love to watch the commentary happen at the same time because it is interesting to me as like a viewer as well to just see how people
are perceiving you.
Yeah.
Perceiving your career.
Yeah.
But it is so, it does feel like people think you are a DJ, like only a DJ, when you have also this crazy, amazing artist project coming out, which I think the timing of your Boiler Room set and then your music video Trust coming out, which is iconic.
Thank you.
I am in it, but that's not why it's iconic. It's so fucking good.
Thank you.
By the way, being on set with you, watching you like turn that on, you are so impressive. You are so much more than, first of all, you're so much more than a DJ. Not that that's amazing in and of itself, but you are like such a great performer.
Thank
you are such a good artist. And you are like, you guys, I could not in a million years understand how you went from just walking around in those thigh-high furry boots, directing, telling people what you wanted, saying like, I like this, I like that, and then performing and doing a back bend on a table. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, you did meet me also. Like, a lot has changed in the last 7 years. I feel like I've grown so much into myself. As any like 20 to 27-year-old hopefully would. But yeah, thank you.
You're so confident and so hot. It was so impressive.
Thank you.
And me and Becca were both in it, and Becca literally was going like this to my eyes when you were doing your dance on the table. She's like, I was like, I know. Really also, I'm like, this is crazy to me that I've known you for that long. When we met, you were singing.
Do you ever feel like you're just trying to stay afloat?
Yeah, and you were singing with one guitarist on stage with a weird little plastic bench, remember? Which, by the way, I wish we could find videos because you laid on that too. And it was like so full circle.
The beginning.
Literally watching you lay on this little plastic bench we were bringing around city to city. And then you're laying in a courtroom on this table, upside down, 4 cameras in your face, full like backup dancers everywhere. All our friends I was like,
I love to lay down.
You love to lay. You know what? Get comfy. Me too. That's why I do my podcast from a bed. It's better that way. But
I just do.
That is so... I hope you are as proud of yourself as I am proud of you.
Thank you. That's so nice. I mean, I am really proud of myself. I mean, it's been a very long, intensive journey. Just trying to like find your footing in your career in reverse, especially from when you've been a kid, is not easy. And I have spent a lot of time over the last 7 years in really like dire positions trying to figure myself out and like become comfortable with leading my life and all of those things. I've done a lot of therapy, talked a lot about that, but like I genuinely feel like it's due to the people who I have around me in my personal life and like in my career, who which has not always been the case for me, who like really championed me and like let me go. Yeah. And let me, you know, like the Trust video was like a brainchild of me and this girl, Olivia DeCamps, who directed it, and also this choreographer I work with, Richie Jackson. And we all just like no one doubts us creatively when we make those things. It's just more like, how the hell are we going to pull this off? But if there's a will, there's a way. Right. And I just think that is like the best part of what I do.
Totally. It's almost like people trust you now.
People trust me because I trust myself.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you should listen to her song, Trust. It's amazing.
You should.
It is so good. This episode is sponsored by Tomboy X. They are queer founded and queer run, and they are the makers of the original boxer brief for women. They create sustainable, gender and size inclusive underwear, loungewear, and swimwear for all bodies, so you can be comfortable in your own skin. And I promise from my own experience, they are extremely comfortable. They obsessively fit test to give you all day comfort in sizes from XS to 6X. Plus, every bra on their website is 100% wire free. I don't even remember the last time I wore a bra with a wire or an underwire, but I do not plan on changing that anytime soon. I cannot recommend these underwear enough, especially the boy shorts. I love them. I wear them all the time, truly all the time. Go to tomboyx.com and use code Shannon so they know I sent you and get 20% off your first order. I love you, Tomboy X. Thank you for sponsoring X's and O's and being here from the start. This episode is sponsored by Cure. You guys know I like to hold on to my clothes for as long as possible. And I also am one of those lesbians who likes to put my things in my girlfriend's bag. So I want to make sure she can hold on to her bags as long as possible too. And I'm so glad that because of this podcast, I now know about Cure, the ultimate solution for protecting and preserving your handbag, ensuring they stay beautiful forever. You clean and maintain your shoes, your car, and even your body, so why not your purse? At the end of the day, some of these bags are investments, and Cure makes sure that they last a lifetime. Plus, if you ever decide to resell, Cure makes sure you get top dollar for your bags because they will still be in great condition. In today's world where overconsumption is a huge problem, it's crucial to make things last as long as possible. By taking care of your handbag with Cure, we can do just that. There's a limited supply available, so go to mycure.com to get your leather care kit today. That's mycure.com. The best way to make your handbag last forever. This episode is sponsored by Shopify. Y'all know I've been using Shopify for years. I used it to sell my Try Again Tomorrow sweatshirts and sweatpants, and I also use it to sell my Friend of Dorothy line, which I love, and you guys know, but I also love it because it is the business behind my business, and it makes sure that selling is easy. I can tell you firsthand that Shopify is the best platform to sell your products, and it is home to the #1 checkout on the planet. And it also has the not so secret, which is Shop Pay, which boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and sales go way up. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, or everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell with Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that I use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/exes, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/exes and upgrade your selling today. One more time, that's shopify.com/exes. This episode is sponsored by Chime. With the holidays coming up, you might need to be saving some money so you can make some bigger purchases, and Chime can help you do that. Take control of your finances by using a Chime checking account with features like no maintenance fees, fee-free overdraft up to $200, or getting paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. Get spotted on debit card purchases and cash withdrawals, and take advantage of Chime's 50,000 fee-free ATMs. To date, Chime has spotted members over $30 billion. Set up direct deposit with your Chime account, and after a qualifying direct deposit of over $200, Chime will notify you to enroll in Spot Me. With an activated debit card, Chime will spot you up to $200 when you exceed your balance. And Chime never charges fees or interest when you use Spot Me. Make your fall finances a little greener by working towards your financial goals with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/Shannon. That's chime.com/Shannon. Chime. It feels like progress. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Members FDIC. Spot Me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Terms and conditions apply. Go to chime.com/disclosures for details. No, that is so cool. That's such a unique experience to have an audience of people and expectations on you before you've even decided who you are, decided what you want to be.
Yeah.
It's giving, in a lot of ways, a lot of early YouTube people are like child stars. Like you were like a child star. You have the same kind of probably traumas that a lot of those kids have as well.
Maybe. Yeah, it is like, I really have found that what has helped me is genuinely just again, I think this really unhealthy habit I had as a kid of disassociating
I feel you.
Has also been one of the most protective things in my life in terms of my career, because I just don't, I've seen so many people lose themselves to the internet, and I definitely was that as a kid. I let so much of my self-worth be wrapped up in that, but it's been a constant scraping out of that ever since then.
Yeah.
And with the DJing thing, I think for a long time, it's funny, I experienced something similar with gayness too. I think there's this fear I've had growing up of I never want to be defined as this one thing, but it's all positive, and it all DJing, I think I have done kind of under wraps and have tried not to make such a statement about. And Boiler Room was one of those things that it wasn't supposed to be filmed.
Really?
Yeah, I got asked because I did a Boiler Room in June. I did an after party, which I was shocked to get asked to do that.
That went viral too, right? Did you wear the same outfit, a similar outfit?
I wear nothing.
Just because I feel I can't differentiate between the ones I saw the first time and then the ones I saw the next time.
I like to be comfy when I DJ. I wear these jeans when I DJ mostly because I like to dance. And I like to have my phone in my back pocket so I can check the time.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how
you do like to dance. You be bopping.
I bop. That's just what it is. But I did a Boiler Room after party in June, which I was this is crazy. Can't believe they asked me to do that. And then they sent me an offer to do DC in September, and they asked if I wanted to have it filmed, and that was definitely a self-doubt kind of am I ready to do this type thing? So I originally said no, and was this will be an easy way to take the pressure off and get in there for the first time, and is this the moment I want to really have something to say in a DJ world? And then I did the set, and I was that was so fun. That was my one of my favorite DJ sets I've ever played. Damn it, I wish I recorded it. And then they had it the whole time. So
that was so meant to be. It's so good.
Thank you.
It's so good. I don't even like, I'm not like a big like clubby girl, but I was playing it. I keep putting it on my TV. Like when I pregame and stuff, I'm like,
I just love to like that's why I like to DJs. I love to like make the energy in which I would love to
pregame.
Yeah.
Dance,
Which
party.
like, yeah, I want to dance to, like some crazy random Hannah Montana like techno remix. I don't know.
The songs were so iconic, and like I can't believe they exist in a world together. What you did is amazing.
Thank you.
But that was like so, I don't know. I feel like that's so meant to be because it was so good, and people are all really, really championing you. Like I feel like the comments were so positive about you. Just being like, holy shit, this girl's like awesome. Do you think it's, I wonder how many people again now know that you're queer?
Dunno.
You need to put a rainbow flag in your Instagram bio. Can you be one of those girls?
Really signify.
Yeah, just be like, and just so you guys
I know. Well, that's what's really funny also that I've experienced consistently. I actually should do the research on what the actual window is, but there is a window that happens. It's like every 14 months, a new niche like subset of men find out that I'm gay. Or no, they don't find out I'm gay. They find out I have boobs. And they care a lot about that, and that has happened with Boiler Room as well, which is, thank you for watching. But it is like, that is one of those things that I see more than anything that people are shocked about. And then there's a disappointment from that same subset of, there's like a queerness there.
But you are queer in a way where it's like people shouldn't count you out. Like you like all people, right?
I like all people.
Yeah.
I don't really have a type, no.
No, but you definitely operate in way more queer spaces. Like I feel like you have a lot of queer friends, and I feel like if someone just watched your Boiler Room thing, they definitely would be like, they wouldn't know what your sexuality is, and they'd go to your page being like, and that girl's for, well, that's what men do in general anyway. They're like, that girl's for me. And then it's like, wait, is she for me? But it's not like your queerness is so overt in any messaging or anything. You're just very much yourself.
Yeah, I think I went through this phase after I came out where I felt like I really people got to know I'm gay. Like I got to prove it.
Yeah.
Which I was in a gay relationship. And I obviously had a lot of gay shit to write about. So I came out with a project that was like about getting back together with your girlfriend, and a lot of experiences I had in that, which I think what I've learned over the last few years is like, well, I actually never want to make music that is like proving to people that I'm gay, because what's the point of that? Like, I just want to talk about my experiences, and like all of my projects are full of all different kinds of pronouns because I have a lot of different relationships to pull from. But I don't feel, I would rather my like queerness show through in, ways in which I treat people and the communities I try to build and like my audience than like making a gay thing for the sake of it being gay.
Totally. I mean, your artistry is very queer in my opinion. Your backup dancers.
Definitely not made by a straight person.
Yeah. But if you were not attuned to queer culture, you could also be watching that and just being like, oh my God, look at the dancers. They have big fake boobs.
Right. I do.
And love that too.
Yeah.
You know?
I do that for sure.
Whereas anyone who's ever watched like RuPaul would be like, that is for the queer audience.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
But you're definitely not ostracizing any audience, which is great for you.
What's the point?
You're doing a great job. But I think that is a classic thing in general when you're newly out, to want people to validate that you are gay. Like that, you're like, I am one of you. Especially I think for people who are not like a lesbian.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
For me, I'm like, for me, I'm a lesbian. Do you guys remember? But
I forgot.
No. Don't forget about that. But yeah, I think not, like anyone who's not falling all the way on either side of the spectrum, there's kind of like a desire for validation.
Yeah. And I actually, when I went on Becca's podcast, I talked about this a little bit. Like, that's what's been it's so different based on whoever's in my life, because I also have found that like the men in my life, like my like male straight friends who have met me over the last few years, all assume that I am like, they put the word like lesbian on me, which it doesn't, but I guess sometimes I call myself a lesbian, sometimes I call myself queer, sometimes everything, which is fair. But like, I found that there's a strange, as someone who identifies like so on the spectrum, and I've talked about how like my queerness has like been a journey of like genuinely, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, yep, never dating a girl again, I'm full.
Yeah.
And I've definitely had the same experience with men many a times. Like, I've dated all across the spectrum of
gender identities.
I mean, it's a journey, and I hope that, you know, the conversation, if anything, like, I hope that, you know, my ability to move about,
Your fluidity,
my fluidity, as one would call it, would make that conversation more natural, because there is a lot of on the internet, like, once you claim an identity, people will stick you to that and make judgments on you
totally
on that forever, whether or not you're sticking to it. And I think like that, I think I've done that as like a queer person too, seeing it with other people, and there's just no, that's not real.
Well, I just went on Caitlin Bristow's podcast, and I was talking about how I feel like in general we're becoming more open to fluidity, and there was, I think, kind of more of a stereotype, especially I can only speak from my own point of view in my own community that I have been in, but like to say like lesbians, if a woman is dating a woman and then she starts dating a man, I think years prior there was kind of this disappointment or almost like feeling of like loss, like we lost someone to men. Whereas I'm feeling like now in 2024, we're getting to a place where there are so many queer people to look up to, and so many queer people, like public queer people, that if someone dates a woman and then dates a man, it's not so detrimental. Like the loss, it's not like, oh my God, we lost one. It's like, oh, we have a million.
Right.
But like back in the day, there were so few that like each one was more precious. Does that make sense?
Totally. Well, and there just like wasn't the understanding of fluidity. Like, I've talked about this with one of my really good friends that I've made, who is a bi person, who has is very similar to me, where like will go through a girl's moment or a boy's moment or an anything in between moment, and like none of it makes you less gay.
No,
at all. And I think I've definitely had that fear, like in myself, of like this loss or something like that. But all of that is a result of just like these similar kinds of fears that like result in any kind of internalized phobias that, you know, we all have.
Totally.
And you can only break that down if you break it down within yourself. So
100%. Also, I think it makes sense to me as someone who's dated not just one person my whole life, right? I think I do some like overcorrection sometimes, or just correction in general from partner to partner.
For sure.
I'm a lesbian, so they've all been women, but I can imagine that if I was bisexual or more fluid with my queerness, that if I had like been heartbroken so badly by a woman, the next time if I was attracted to men, I could be like, oh, that would be nice to go like swing another direction, like for the correction of also like comparison. Like I think I think that's a natural thing that happens with straight people, with queer people, with all people. When you go from one relationship to the next, you're like, what did I not like about that? Yeah. And what can I get from this? And I don't know, obviously I've only dated women, but it would seem, I know women are complicated and like we are very emotional. And what I hear a lot from bi people is the way women fight even is like, we're so much more in tune with our emotions. Like I could see myself being like, holy shit, I need to date a dude. Just
for sure,
a badass hunky guy. That's what I need right now.
That's a really interesting point, because I definitely think there's something to the overcorrecting that like everyone does. Like you could do that with any type of personality within the same or different genders.
Without gender.
But there is like this something I've heard as like a bi person, or even just like someone who even that is perceived as like you used to date guys and now you date girls.
Yeah.
Is there's almost like an invalidity thing there of like, oh, well, you've only turned to girls because men have done you so wrong.
Yeah.
Which it's like...
Which people say that to lesbians also.
Exactly.
They're like, oh, you just didn't meet the right guy yet.
Exactly. It's like, but, well, okay. It can all be true and not true. Like, yeah, some men really suck.
Yeah.
But you can also just be in a stage of experiencing something new. I think that's like, there's no reason to make these like tones of invalidity or trying to make some like defining statement about why someone is doing it, when it's like we're all just trying to date. Like, I also have been burned by fucking Scorpios.
Yeah.
So you could say I've been traumatized into anytime someone says they're a Scorpio, I'm a little weirded out.
No, totally.
You know?
Yeah. You could never want to date an actor again. You could never want to date a...
Yeah.
Like, all these things don't matter. I also feel like we're getting to a point where you don't need a reason why you're gay. I like so desperately when I was younger wanted them to come up with some kind of DNA test.
Really?
Yes. I was like, and when that comes out, everyone will know this was not a choice. But I do feel in 2024, and also just, who cares? Even if you choose to be gay, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. If you fall in love with someone, the reason why you fell in love with them doesn't make you any more valid in your sexuality. Yeah. In my opinion.
Yeah. It does feel like amongst our generation, like we're becoming really comfortable with like you said, the idea of just like general fluidity and taking yourself out of someone else's decisions that have nothing to do with you. And I'm so curious, like having a little sister who's 9 and like Gen Alpha.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a new word.
Oh,
are you Gen Z?
I'm like on the cusp of
a zillennial.
I'm a zillennial. Yeah. Woo. Which I really feel, because I catch myself in some moments where I'm like, well, you're being a little bit millennial right now. Like that, you're making a choice that I know you would make fun of. But I am also very Gen Z. I'm like extremely chronically online and all of that. But I'm so curious like how the next generation will go down that train. Like, will the comfortability with fluidity or whatever the next thing is, what will that be? Because I think it's also very generational that there's like this idea that you do have your nose in everyone else's business in the generations before us.
Yeah, totally. You know? Also, culture in general is like a pendulum. So a lot of times something will swing really far one way and then go way back to the other thing. I prefer it like this. Like anyone who's complaining, being like, "Oh my god, everyone's gay," I'm like, "This is awesome," and cherish these moments. This is the best.
Yeah. I hope we get more gay.
I hope we get diverse. More gay. Stay gay, everybody. Okay, should we talk about dating?
Okay,
we can talk about it generally. Who are you in a relationship?
That's a great question. I mean, I have really grown so much in my relationships, and I think I've been a different version of myself in all of my relationships. I've had like 2 serious relationships that were long-term, and I've only really had like long-term relationships with women, which I think as I'm getting older, I'm getting closer to having my own like unchanging identity, if that makes sense. Like I'm coming more into myself consciously. But I've been everything in relationships. I've definitely tried really hard to be understanding. I've also definitely been like very ununderstanding or not understanding. I've been selfish, but I think I've also been like very selfless at times. My last relationship was the most I think I'd really like gone for it. We lived together. Yeah. It was the oldest I'd ever been in a relationship. But at the same time, I look back and I'm like, I was 24. I was a child when we met.
Child bride.
Yeah. And I like feel like I'm really seeing in hindsight, just like one, how young I am now, and also how young I have been, where I think I've always cosplayed being a lot older in my relationships.
I think you've always cosplayed being a lot older as a person.
Yeah.
From my experience knowing you, even as a 20-year-old, you very much so had like that energy of being someone who's like, you're more mature than your age. But
I've always gotten that.
But like, are you, you know?
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
You're also not. You're also coming from 20 years of life experience. Although you did live more life in 20 years than some people live in a lifetime.
Yeah, well, I've always been surrounded by older people. Like, I've always dated older people. When I was a kid, I was friends with older people, like especially in high school and through YouTube and all of that. And so I always was really comfortable with people who were older than me.
Yeah.
And I think that has been like a big learning lesson this year, is embracing like my age and embracing the ability to like act my age.
Yeah.
Like
make mistakes.
Yeah. Make mistakes and like be crazy.
Yeah. You should be
not
crazy.
in like a go crazy on people way, but like I've never spent as many nights like up until 5 a.m. as I have this year.
Yeah. You're allowed to do that.
Yeah. But I've like never had the energy.
True.
And I have that. I've given myself that this year for sure.
That's so fair. Are you like a needy partner? Are you also, who are you when you date? Like when you're dating, are you like, do you plan dates? Do you like someone to plan the dates for you?
Well, I've really realized this year, maybe even before we get to like dating, I'm a pursuer.
Okay.
So if I get an idea in my head where I'm like, that person's cute, I like this person, I love the game of trying to like crack the egg. Mm-hmm. I love that. And for better and for worse, I like it. But I find like I get a lot of confidence in that stage. But then I think in the past, I've really lost myself to like, once I figure out what a person likes,
becoming it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I look back on my last real relationship where I think back to me being like 24, and I remember I walked into her apartment for the first time and she had like rows and rows and rows and rows and rows of books, like super cultured, very intelligent person. And I bought like 20 books on Amazon and read them all.
Yeah.
So and we never talked about reading. We never talked about books, but like I just felt like I needed to catch up. And I think that's been one of my things I could really learn about.
That makes so much sense.
Or get better at.
But also like it's crazy. Each relationship, you do become like you honestly do become like a better version of yourself, as long as the relationship isn't super toxic and then you leave like a crumbling human.
That's the goal.
But you learn so much about yourself, and we learn so much about ourselves through other people, even friendships, and like, what do I actually like? What do I want to do? And I feel like with your background of being so online and people telling you who you were before you got to decide for yourself, I'm sure that process for you maybe is longer than some people who didn't have so much pressure to be like, this is who you are, Rebecca Black.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've like also, it's for a while like really led me to be with partners who really know who they are. Mm-hmm. And that's also been
the adult of it all too, that you've mostly dated older people.
Yes.
Obviously, I think maybe you're just attracted to self-assurance.
Yes, and identity, because I was lacking identity for so long in myself, and I've always found that like inspiring.
Yeah.
I've dated a lot of people who like are, I don't want to pinhole to just this career, but like directors. Like I like have loved to work with people who give me help me find my own identity within myself. But then at the same time, it becomes this weird balance of like wanting to fold into this person, but also through that becoming a better version of myself. And so then I've reached this point before in relationships where I have grown through my relationship. I've learned a lot from them. And now I'm like, you don't need to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And I build this resentment that, you know, all of the domino pieces fall where they may after that. And so that was like a huge learning lesson for me this year. And it's really focused, or allowed me to like feel confident in like disagreeing with someone, even on like little surface level things.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. When you're like looking for someone, when you're dating people who are more assured than you, then you get into a relationship with them, then you become more self-assured.
They teach you.
Yeah. And then for lack of better words, outgrow them, or you learn all that you can from them and from a relationship. But that's also, that happens whether you're either part of that dynamic. Do you know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Well, and I think the way that I see it, at least, is like hopefully with a person who I have the ability to be with for a long time, is that you learn from each other and you give each other the space to grow and keep doing that thing. And I think I've yet to figure that out on my end and on the other person's end too.
Totally. I do think that is like the ideal thing we're all searching for, is someone who you can learn from forever.
Yeah.
Versus I learned all I could from you.
Exactly.
And vice versa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I know.
Is that like a power dynamic that you like? Like feeling like do you like a more dominant person, like a more domineering person? You're like a pretty confident, you're not domineering by any means, but you're a confident person.
Well, that's the thing. I definitely like to feel, the older that I get, the more I like to feel confident.
Yeah.
And the more I like to be in a position where when I'm with someone, especially in like, I mean, in any romantic or friendship or any relationship I have with anyone, I like to feel like myself. Like I like to feel like I'm in conversations where I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm in conversations where if I don't know what I'm talking about, I can also be honest about that, not pretend or whatever it is. Like,
so true.
I think I have in the past like geared myself towards people who are more confident in ways that I'm not. But I think I would really like to be in a relationship that I feel as confident as I know I can, you know?
And maybe where you feel almost more like equal.
I just want to feel equal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think any imbalanced situation like that always ends yourself in like a weird...
It's hard to keep that going for a long time.
It's definitely not sustainable.
Yeah.
Because like you said, like there's no like learning or growing.
Yeah,
or
you'll just,
like
you will hit a plateau versus this could go on forever and ever and ever, and you're going to keep learning and I'm going to keep learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about sex?
Okay.
I feel like
I did the last time I was here.
I know, and also I feel like sex for you would almost be less vulnerable than this. Especially
Yeah.
Here's what I want to talk about. You know the Giggly Squad girls? Hannah Berner and
Oh, yes.
I saw them doing this like Q&A or something on the street with these boys, and the guys were like, what's the ideal amount of time for like sex?
What they say?
Well, one of them said like 4 minutes, but then like all the comments were people being like, I hope everyone knows she meant the penetrative part of the sex, like ideally could last 4 minutes, but the sex itself should be much longer. I have no idea.
I'm like, usually I look and I'm like, well, it's been a couple hours, but lots happened. lots happened.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, as a queer person, even when you're sleeping with cis men, if you are sleeping with cis men, I feel like you are all still fucking like a queer person. I'm sorry, but do you know what I mean? Like where your expectations of sex are coming from a place that is way different than just like cis het sex.
Yes.
You're like, sex could last this long. I could finish this many times.
Yeah.
You could do that. Like, you know what I mean? Whereas if your threshold for sex is more narrow, then you only know it to be one thing.
Yes. And like I've definitely noticed in myself that and I definitely give the credit of this to being my like queer relationships and my queer sex experiences, is like when there is such a focus on both people being satisfied, that like it doesn't matter whether it's with like a straight, if I'm in a heterosexual dynamic or a homosexual dynamic or whatever, like if that's not balanced, something's up to me.
Totally.
You know, and I will always like, I have that barometer there, which I don't think I had before I was, you know, having queer experiences.
Don't you think that's like kind of beautiful? Also, that like, I bet cis men would probably be like, this is so different and better.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. I
just think queer sex makes you better in bed if you've experienced it, because we like uphold people to higher standards of both people feeling satisfied.
Exactly.
If it's good queer sex. I'm sure there's also bad queer sex.
And I've had that too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. So, but like if you've had good queer sex, then you have this like new threshold of everyone could be having a good time.
I agree.
And I think a lot of my straight friends who are like kind of like, well, sometimes you don't have a good time. I'm like, then why are you doing it then?
Well, exactly. Yeah, I do. This is why we say people like, we love that everyone is more gay now.
Yeah.
Because it's beneficial. Yeah, I think I have learned so much about sex. And there's also like something inherently more open I've found with just like any queer partners where like I have whatever it like there's
exploration and
yes, whether it's like bringing in other things or other people or other,
totally.
Whatever. Like I never experienced that openness until I was
having queer
sex. Yeah. Which
fuck yeah.
The more like to me with sex, the more freedom, the merrier.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
What else do you want to know?
Well, I also want to know, how does it feel to be a sex symbol? Like, I do feel you're becoming like a sex symbol. And I think your persona in your music videos even is very like I would say hypersexual. Men sometimes think that it is for them,
right,
or people in general believe that you are being sexual for them,
right,
and that you now maybe owe them something,
right,
whereas like you are being sexual for yourself to feel confident to be, right? Yeah.
Well, I've had a really interesting experience with like my own public sexual identity for a long time, because I think unfortunately being that I've been around on the internet since I was a kid, one of the most common comments that I would get from men on my anything was like, can't wait till she turns 18.
Sick.
Like just truly like sick, gross comments. And that made me want to like grab hold, I think, of my sexual identity for a long time and my sexuality in general. Like I was a pretty late bloomer, I think, by current standards in terms of just my own personal life like that. Like I've held it really tight. And I think through the last few years, it's been something that has really been my decision on my own terms. And I do it in a way that I feel really empowered and feel like it kind of, there wasn't really like a conscious decision of like, now I will be sexy.
Yeah.
I just got more comfortable with myself and allowed for more freedom. And again, like placed myself in environments like where I was surrounded by people who made me feel really safe. And so now that is almost like my I don't even think about sex being a part of
you're not trying to be sexual.
Yeah. But what's interesting is I was like with someone the other day who like described me as like a sexual person who is someone who I like know closely.
Yeah.
And I would have never I would have never like said that about myself, and I don't think I've always been that, but I think over the past few years like I've become just really comfortable, and I've also like learned that I think I identify as like a flirty person because I like to toe that line with people. Like I find that I saw a TikTok about it once where, and I really resonated with it, where someone was talking about like how some people like really enjoy towing that line of like connection with people. And I think I do that. And so to me, like the way that when I'm in front of a camera and I'm like, not even conceptualizing a video, when I'm just performing, that is like very similarly
there's a flirtation
into how I would maybe approach like a conversation with anyone.
That's so fair. True.
That makes sense.
Definitely makes sense. But
I don't identify as a sex symbol for sure, but I will take that.
I feel like you're definitely becoming a sex symbol. Like it's becoming I think you're becoming. But like it's interesting because I think on my episode with ER, the title is literally like being a sex symbol too. Like sex symbol is not, I think we hear sex symbol and we can still think it's one thing, especially for women, like cis women being like, okay, it's like being voluptuous, but sex symbol is like a million different things.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's so, I never thought that I would be in a position where I would feel really comfortable and feel like I think I always thought if I ever did get in that world or did become that, it would be because I was giving in to these desires that other people have had for so long, where like genuinely when I make art, like straight men are the last thing I'm thinking about.
For sure.
Like they're the last thing I'm trying to impress. They're also the people I know are not getting it. Like, and oftentimes I'm explaining to people like, as much as I am inclusive to everyone and I want everyone to enjoy what I make, and if, you know what, if you're a dude and you think I have big boobs and that's why you listen to my music, thank you for the stream. That's fine. But yeah, I think that like I approach sex from like embracing a version of myself that only exists like on camera or on stage. And I love to, that is like a character that will change, I think, throughout my entire career. And I think sex is beautiful and powerful and has made me feel very confident, whether or not it has to do with actual sex.
Yeah.
You know?
So true. It is interesting too how different your persona as a DJ is as your like you in the Trust music video.
What is the difference?
Like you DJing in like a tank top and jeans and being like and still, by the way, still getting sexualized even in that. Yeah. To Trust, you're like in like the smallest little, are you wearing a caution tape?
I'm wearing a very small top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those are very different versions of an artist. And one, to me, Rebecca Black, the DJ, is you. Yeah. And Rebecca Black, the artist, is like a persona.
Yeah. I think they're both me, but I think that like,
and they're definitely both you, yeah.
Yeah, when I DJ, it really is just like me at the club. Yeah. Like that is conscious on my part. That's why I don't feel the need to like I feel the need to dress actually like the most simple and most comfortable, because I literally, that's like what I do when I go to the club. Yeah. Like I can't wear heels. I can't. Yeah. I just want to dance and have fun. Totally. And that's what makes me feel confident in that world. But that also is probably because like I started DJing like
in my house parties. Yeah. Yeah.
And I've DJ'd mostly in like small LA clubs for the majority of my DJ career.
But it's sick. Like, I think it's cool. What do you think your genre of music is?
I get the label hyperpop all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think when I started releasing music, like the genre hyperpop was this like buzzword that people would use for like, well, it's not regular pop. It's not what these girls are doing. And I think that over the last few years, like genre in music has become like so, like especially in pop, like it's become so irrelevant almost. Like you have like one of the biggest artists of the year, Sabrina, making like kind of a country pop album, honestly, but no one's calling it country pop. There's just country influence and 80s influence. It's pop. Yep. And I think,
and then you have Charlie XCX, and then you have Noah Kahan.
Exactly.
Like, that's all pop.
And I really love, I think like hyperpop in its roots come from like a very specific like genre of artists who really brought forth like more of a statement in like the way they made music than what it sounds like. And I think that's where it gets confusing for people, is like Sophie was like one of the original hyperpop artists, but she brought forth like a movement that was like not just sonically hyperpop. Like I think like transness is inherently hyperpop and queerness is inherently hyperpop, and like producers who were like 14 making beats in their bedroom is like inherently hyperpop. And I think like I have always been inspired by certain artists in that genre, but I don't think I make hyperpop
music.
Anyway, I think hyperpop is in like an identity crisis
I feel you.
now.
I feel you. But you're definitely your pop music. What is my point of saying this? I just think, to me, so often I see like a Lady Gaga-esque energy to your artist project. Like as an inspiration, not as like, you know, it's not like the same.
Yeah.
So the fact that you, Rebecca Black, the DJ, is so stripped bare, like stripped down, and then you, Rebecca Black, in the Trust music video is
glammed up.
Yeah. It's cool that you can do both. You're like, you have duality.
Thank you. I think I've realized I'm like not, some artists are like meant to be mysterious. I don't think I'm meant to be mysterious.
As you said on my
much
podcast,
as I want to
like,
be
here, this is who I am. Yeah.
So yeah.
I think it would be hard for you to become mysterious after you've been online since you were 20 years old. Unless you like stripped everything off the internet and then, but like I feel I'm more attracted to artists that have more authenticity and you get more of like who they are. But I also understand why someone like Chappell would want people to know less about.
Right.
Well,
that feels like a safety concern more than like a, you know,
true,
an identity thing. Because I actually think like Chappell in her early days was like so like, I'm a chronically online girl.
Yeah, very internet.
You know? And I think she's still maybe, I mean, I don't know her personally really, but like I think that she still has that essence. And I think it's, I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah. We don't, what will all this internet do in the future?
Girl,
follow us forever. Follow us forever. But if you want to know about
something more, have forever.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of X's and O's. You can follow Rebecca on all of her socials. I'll have them below. You should stream her music, watch her new music video, watch her Boiler Room set. Do you have anything exciting coming up?
Just stay tuned for the rest.
Yay. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. My first guest in my first studio, my first guest in my new studio.
Woo! I love it here.
Wow. We love to grow. Woo! Okay. Thank you. This episode was sponsored by Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Reminder, I have used Shopify for years and I truly could not recommend it enough. If you have a product you want to sell or a business you want to grow, Shopify is the platform for you. It's the business behind my business and the reason that my business has grown so much. Businesses that sell more with Shopify. Upgrade your business today and get the same checkout that I use at Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/X's, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/X's and upgrade your selling today. And one more time, that's shopify.com/X's. This episode was sponsored by Curé. If I'm going to keep putting my things in my girlfriend's purse, I need to make sure that her purse stays pristine. That's why I'm excited about Curé, the ultimate solution in protecting and preserving your handbags. We maintain our shoes and our cars and even our bodies. So why don't we do the same thing for our purse collection? At the end of the day, these are investments and Curé makes sure they last a lifetime. Plus, if you ever want to resell, using Curé ensures that you're going to get top dollar when you go to sell your bag because it'll still be in perfect shape. There's a limited supply available, so go to mycuré.com to get your leather care kit today. That's mycuré.com. The best way to make your handbag last forever.